What's up guys? Hope you enjoyed that little intro there, showing a little bit of what the Berserker can do. Man, what a class this is. I'm really excited to get you guys this guide. So without further ado, let's dive specifically into the Berserker for this video. So what is the Berserker? Berserker's a melee DPS with short to medium range strikes. It's got good burst potential, good CC immunity, good HP pool. It's got decent mobility. All in all, it is a well-rounded melee DPS in PvP. But there's a couple strengths that we should outline, and a couple weaknesses specific to Lost Ark. So let's go ahead and dive into those. So Berserker's biggest strengths in PvP, one of them is its very powerful awakening skill, Chain of Vengeance. This skill can catch a whole enemy team in 3v3, do good damage to all three players. You know, it keeps them staggered for a bit, and then knocks them down. It sucks them in, so even if they're trying to move out of it, they can get sucked right in, and then that's a really good initiation for your other team's ultimates. It's just an incredibly powerful awakening. So other notable pros or strengths of the Berserker is its really good burst damage, especially inside its so aptly named burst mode. You know, once you build up your meter and you activate burst mode, you get 20% move speed, 20% attack speed, and 30% additional critical strike chance, in addition to a unique skill called Bloody Rush, which does a ton of damage. Once you factor in your capabilities in the burst mode, it can be a really impressive amount of damage that's going out. So it's definitely noteworthy to say about the class. In addition, its last major pro I would list is that it excels at AoE tier 3 hard CC. We'll showcase this more in a minute, but it's worth mentioning in the pros list that it really has good options as far as landing tier 3 hard CCs on the enemy, and in an AoE fashion. So you can really land this, you can land its skills on a couple enemy players and maybe guarantee like a 2-person ult or just a great setup for your team at the very least. So it's definitely a strength of the class, is its skills that have AoE hard CC. Moving on to Berserker's cons, it has some incredibly long cooldowns. That's really the prominent weakness of the class, if there is one. It's the long cooldowns. You got a 30-second cooldown, you've got some cooldowns in the 20-second range, so you can be quite vulnerable to counterattack when everything's off cooldown, and you and your team need to play around that. In addition, since they are such long cooldowns, it can be pretty punishing to whiff some of your skills. The other two cons that are worth mentioning, in my opinion, are in regards to the gap closers. So only one of your gap closers is really fast. So more experienced players can kite the Berserker or get out of the way or interrupt its gap closers. Only one of them is really strong, and that's a little bit of a weakness of the class. In addition to all your gap closers are only tier 1 CC immune. None of them are tier 2 CC immune, so it means they're vulnerable to counterattack and counter initiation. Alright guys, so now that you've had an introduction to the class, you need to know what build to use in PvP. And I'm going to show you. This is the one I really recommend you start with. It's the more meta build. It's an all-around, stable, solid build that can be useful in any type of matchup. It's a great place to start. Without further ado, let's jump in. First, you assign your stats. We're going to go 750 in swiftness because it is a really overloaded stat in PvP. Gives you movement speed, attack speed, and cooldown reduction, which Berserker desperately needs. So we're maxing out 750 swiftness here. We're putting 1 point into crit just so we have a chance to crit. And domination, we're putting the other 249 points there because it gives you a damage multiplier when your opponent is CC'd, which is most of the time you're hitting them with your big attacks. So domination is where we go with the remaining points. Speaking of our attacks, first up is Mountain Crash. This is a point blank AoE tier 3 CC. The tripods we get for this is CC duration of the Earthquake, tier 1 tripod. The tier 2 tripod, we get an attack speed buff for ourselves when we hit this, and the tier 3 tripod, we get a bonus line AoE that comes out for this that does extra damage and has extra crit rate. By the way, that extra line does not Earthquake. This is a great combo starter though. As soon as you get on target, you hit this, you Earthquake them, and then you start your combo. Speaking of the combo, the second hit of the combo is Red Dust. Now this is a long cooldown. 30 seconds, but it's worth it. It's like a medium range nuke that on successful hit, foes take 30% bonus damage from you for 6 seconds. So you do this as soon as they're CC'd before you do your big attacks. The tripods we go for this skill: cooldown reduction, tier 1, tier 2 tripod, extra stagger time and bleed, tier 3 tripod, extra range and attack damage. Awesome skill, but a long cooldown. The third hit of your combo is Finish Strike. This is exactly what it sounds like. The last hit of your combo that does monster truck damage. Moderate cooldown, and you'll just do it after you have them CC'd. Hopefully you have a red dust up, and then you just get to slamming with Finish Strike. The tripods we use: tier 1 tripod, we get push immunity. For PvP, this is a godsend. It's tier 2 CC immune, can't be knocked up or down. The tier 2 tripod we get is 50% bonus damage. If they have 50% or less HP, you'd be surprised how much this happens and how much it finishes a kill. Tier 3 tripod we get is combo mode. An extra attack, 150% bonus damage, plus 6-second cooldown, totally worth it. Alright, let's look at our mobility next. Our best mobility option, and the first one we're going to cover, is shoulder charge. Kind of a long cooldown due to our tripods, but this is like the traditional warrior charge from other MMOs you've seen. What's unique about it in this game is we can get some extra range with the tier 1 tripod, and the tier 2 tripod we take lets us double it up. So we can do 2 back-to-back charges, which lets us charge pretty much across the map. Excellent engage, it's your best one. We put 8 points into it. It's tier 1 stagger CC immune. Can't say enough good things about shoulder charge. Our next mobility option is diving slash. We put 7 points into this one. This is like a heroic leap from other games. You leap into battle. Also only tier 1 CC immune, but that's okay. The tripods we take are extra range to make you be able to leap a little farther, but you can actually control the distance on this a little bit. You can aim it a little closer or farther away. The tier 2 tripod we get is extra trip duration, so if you land this skill, you knock opponents down. It's hard to land, it's got a small hitbox, but if you land it, you're given a pretty big reward with an extra knockdown effect that you can convert into a combo, and that has even more potential due to this tier 2 tripod, so that's diving slash. Our third mobility option is Windblade. Windblade is easier to land than your other 2 mobility skills. You don't have to be as precise with it because it moves you forward and you spin your sword in a circle as you go forward. So you're able to pick up enemies slightly to the left or right of you, or even in front or behind you. We put 10 points into this skill. It's also tier 1 CC immune, so it can go through staggers. The tier 1 tripod we get is cooldown reduction. Tier 2 tripod we get is extra damage, and the tier 3 tripod we get is what makes this skill even a halfway decent engage. This tier 3 tripod makes it faster. Without this, it's slow as molasses. So Wind Swift is mandatory if you're going to use this for any type of gap closer. You get a little bonus damage with it as well. The next skill we're going to cover is Tempest Slash. This can be used as an alternative combo starter or a combo extender. It's an upward vortex slice, which will pick up enemies on all angles from you, so it's really good to use after a Windblade, because let's say you caught someone behind you, Tempest Slash will continue the combo even if they're actually a little bit behind you, because it's an upwards like 360-degree vortex. Pretty long cooldown, so we get some cooldown reduction tripods for it. Tier 1. Tier 2 tripod, we get outgoing damage increase, and tier 3 tripod, we remove the first attack of the skill, which makes it start up a little faster, and this tier 3 tripod gives us some bonus damage as well. The last ordinary skill we're going to cover is Sword Storm. 30-second monster cooldown, but this is a monster skill. It's a giant triangular conal AoE tier 3 CC that does decent damage too. It's one of your best skills. I get excited just talking about it. For tripods, we get attack speed in tier 1. This makes it a little bit faster, a little bit more likely to hit because it's kind of slow on its own. For tier 2, we get tenacity, push immunity, tier 2 CC immunity, a must. And then tier 3, we get the earthquake effect. It doesn't do an earthquake unless you get this tier 3 tripod, earthquake wave. You really want that. So you can use this as a ranged combo starter. You can use it as a peel for your teammates. You can use it as a counter initiation for yourself. It's an awesome skill, but remember that long cooldown. You really don't want to miss this, or else it's down for 20-something, 30 seconds. Our last skill in this book is our Awakening, Chain of Vengeance. We've talked about it and shown it a bit earlier in the video, but I mean, and what you see is what you get here. Huge AoE that draws in opponents, staggers them, knocks them back, nukes them, and you're tier 3, tier 2, and tier 1 CC immune the entire time. It's a great counter initiation. It's a great combo, actually, after your earthquake effects that will keep the enemies like drawn in and CC'd for a while so your teammates can follow up. It's an amazing skill. Unfortunately, you can only use it once a match because it's an Awakening, so make sure you make it count. The last thing I want to mention here is, remember, you have your Fury meter in the middle of your action bar. Once this meter becomes full, you can press Z to go into Burst Status. Burst Status gives you that 20% attack speed, 20% movement speed, and 30% chance to crit. In addition, it lets you use that special skill, Bloody Rush. Bloody Rush is a tier 2 and tier 1 CC immune nuke where you slice your sword in front of you probably 20 times, you do a ton of damage, you'll see a ton of yellow numbers pop up. It's a great skill. I recommend you do that when the enemy is CC'd and you know they cannot escape, or as a last ditch counter initiation. If they're coming at you and you're about to die, you can pop that Bloody Rush if you happen to be in burst mode. It's an awesome skill. You'll have a lot of fun with it. All right, guys, now on to the fun part. Combos. So I'm going to teach you 6 basic combos today that are going to go a long way when you start playing the Berserker. It might sound like a lot, but some of them are a bit redundant. They pretty much go, you use a gap closer, you get on target, you CC them, and then you go into big damage. Don't try to get too fancy with these. I recommend when you're first starting, you just try to hit these basic combos and get quick damage as fast and as safely as possible. When you're in a 3v3 match, this is what's going to make you land your combos instead of getting interrupted by other people. You're going to get in and out, and you can thank me later. All right, let's get started. And my dudes, that is a wrap. My hope is that with this video, you've learned a thing or two and you're feeling more confident entering your arena for the first time on Berserker. Hopefully, you have an introduction to the skills, you know what your button presses do, and you have a couple combos to keep in mind to try to land your first step into some real PvP. Let me know in the comments how you liked this video, if it was helpful, and let me know what you would like to see next. I have a lot of ideas. We can go more advanced, cover matchups, Berserker matchups, alternative builds, alternative tripod choices, and really deep dive there. Or we can go more basic and just cover the systems that maybe you guys would like to see me personally explain. How the different CC works in this game. What are the first things you should be trying to do and look for your first arena? Let me know in the comments which direction you'd like to see me go with my content. I'm flexible and willing to do what the community wants. Speaking of the community, hey, if you liked the video, why don't you become a regular part of the community? Stop by the description. Check out my social media. I full-time stream on Twitch. I'd really like to see you there in the chat. Hop in our Discord. Hang out with us, man. Help the whole thing grow. I'm really trying as hard as I can to become a full-time Lost Ark content creator, but I need your guys' help. Stop in, support how you can, and I hope to see you guys around, man. And I hope this video really helped you. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you like this video, give it a like, subscribe to my channels, and until next time, everyone, take care. That's a wrap for me. Peace.